What's going on, Drinking Buddies? Brand new podcast coming right at you, but real quick, we got to have a word from our sponsors, those fine folks that bring me and this podcast to your ear holes and hopefully your eye holes every week. First and foremost, we are brought to you by the video versions of this podcast. Speaking of your eye holes, you can check out the madness in full HD, ad-free, on Vimeo at www.anwd.net/videos. Once again, that is www.anwd.net/videos. There's 80-something episodes up right now for $6 a month. You can stream them all unlimited. Or if there's an episode you really want to see, like one of the ones with some nudity in it, 99 cents will buy you that, and it's yours for life. And this holiday season, it makes a good stocking stuffer for someone, I guess. Who knows? Buy a video. Do it. Do it. We are also brought to you this week by my Twitch stream. That's right. I am Twitch streaming every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tonight, if you're listening to this on day of release, we will be playing Among Us at 8 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/MattFandSlayer. Once again, that is twitch.tv/MattFandSlayer. Come hang out. Join us in the chat. We're having a lot of fucking fun, especially because I just started Cyberpunk 2077 yesterday. And last, but certainly, definitely not least, we are brought to you by our friends at Vinyl Me Please. Vinyl Me Please is the Record of the Month Club. The best damn Record of the Month Club. In fact, every month, Vinyl Me Please features one album that is essential to the modern vinyl collection. It comes packaged with things like bonus tracks, inserts, color variants, album-inspired art prints, and custom cocktail pairing recipes. So much for your fucking money. If you're into art, music, and drinking, Vinyl Me Please is for you. Sign up today at www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. Once again, that is www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. Oh, fun fact, it's not like Record of the Month clubs of old. It's month to month, no strings attached, and cancel anytime. So sign up today, people. My guest this week, returning for a third time, I guess, is comedian Trevor Keveloh. Trevor and I catch up. He moved out of state, so it was kind of a bro down, catching up, seeing how comedy is, where he's at now, talking about the state of LA, talking about the state of the world. It's always good to catch up with Trevor. And if you're in the Austin, Texas area, the Dojo of Comedy Austin is having its very first show 1 week from tonight. Links to the event are in the show notes. So buy yourself a ticket. Go support the comedy. Go support the Dojo of Comedy in Austin, Texas. Support Trevor. But in the meantime, sit back, relax, pop a cold one, and enjoy, Drinking Buddies. Fucking Keveloh! What up, motherfucker? Welcome back.
What's up, man? Thank you.
Fucking bailing the state, you piece of shit.
Yep. I'm one of many. Yeah. I got here before Elon Musk, though, so I feel kind of cool.
But did you? Did you really get there before Elon Musk, or did you get there before he bought half the state?
I think, no shit. I think I got here before he announced it officially. So, that was my whole goal. Get here before Elon, I'm going to be good,
After Rogan, before Elon. Got it.
Yes, I'm right in the middle, especially, financially, I'm right in the middle.
Who did you rob to be in between Elon and Rogan in money?
Jesus, I don't know. Out here? Oh, I mean, Chappelle's here, but he's not here. He's going to be here for a while. So that's kind of cool.
We probably should tell the audience where you are now. So Trevor Keveloh, return guest, has bailed sunny California to go to Austin, Texas, where he better be having protected sex because you still can't get abortions easily down there.
This is true. Yes, I had I'd taken a lot of time to figure out where I wanted to move because I was not happy in California. My home club, the Dojo of Comedy, Sycamore Tavern, closed back in March due to COVID. The owners decided to sell the property, put it up for sale. So my home was gone. Um, I basically had subleased since I moved to LA 6 years ago. So I didn't really have like a lease or a home other than Sycamore in the dojo. So I spent a lot of time getting out on my own. I was at the Grand Canyon. I did like a Northern Arizona, just kind of like come to Jesus moment. Um, and decided I was like, I got to get out of California. I got to go somewhere where I can kind of restart and refresh. So I had three cities that I wanted to go to. One of them you hate, Phoenix, Scottsdale. I know you hate Phoenix and Scottsdale. So
Yeah. All the bad parts of Vegas, none of the good.
Yep, exactly. And I wanted to go there initially because I'm familiar with the town and the area, and I like Arizona, but I'm glad I didn't go there. Now my number two, close to, was Austin, and number three was Nashville. So I decided on Austin because I just like I know with Rogan being here and other people, and it's got a good already like a good, from what I've experienced, which has only been a month or two worth of getting to know some of the comedians and shows here. It's got a good comedy scene, so it's going to blow up. It's going to thrive. So, and it's cool. It's a warmer state and warmer city.
Oh no, I love Austin. I've had some good times down there, but I don't want to live in Texas.
I don't want to live in Texas. Yeah, you love LA. I mean, what your market is the LA culture. I get that. So, it was just my thing was I just will never be able to open up my own anything in California because it's just too expensive. Not just like buying a house or a condo, but even a business itself. And that's ultimately like what I'd like to do one day is have my own business and my own actual like yard or something.
Yards, that's so weird. That's overrated.
I know. Yeah, it's just you don't see yards in LA and where we're from, the Hollywood area. It's more just like just a house and then another house and then just an apartment and
well, because if you had a fucking yard, you'd have a fucking homeless encampment in front of it. It looked like
that is very fucking true.
It would look like fucking Woodstock on your lawn
all the fucking time. Man, is it gotten worse?
Oh yeah,
the past 3 months because I left in September.
Dude, it's gotten so bad that the homeless encampment by my place, one of them has a it has a no trespassing sign on it. The homeless are telling other homeless you're not welcome.
Oh, that's hilarious. It's like
we're having gated communities of fucking homeless people in Hollywood now.
They're literally taking over the streets. And I said that in the summer. I mean, I know it's just, and I watch these YouTube videos of these economic professors at schools in California. And one of the things that I forgot which guy it was he's talking about is when they released all these prisoners from jail, these nonviolent criminals or whatever they're called, nonviolent felons, whatever. They released them into the public, and they didn't have anywhere to go because the COVID situation in prison. So they had nowhere to go. They didn't have a house to go to. They don't have any jobs because the job market is so so small now, and they didn't have places to go. So you had 10,000 people, however many prisoners they've released over since COVID started. So you got all those extra people on the street, and unfortunately, a lot of the people that were in jail for nonviolent crimes, stuff that they're probably not, they don't want to do. They may be forced to do it. I don't know. Not in their shoes. But so a lot of these people are going back to a life that they're used to, which is on the street or, I don't know if they're I don't know what the violence is like in LA anymore, if there is any, small violence like, carjackings and stuff like that.
I mean, if you look at the Citizen app, it's still pretty fucking wild sometimes. I don't know. I barely leave my apartment.
I deleted it months ago. I couldn't take it, man. It was too much. When I was still in LA, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It was getting weird.
I mean, it's always been weird.
Too weird.
This town has always been fucking weird. And I'm just hoping. My hope is that I can ride this fucking wave and that all you assholes that are fucking bailing town are going to bring property values down and things will be reasonable to live here.
Hopefully, I'm trying to help you out.
I appreciate it, Trevor. I mean, all we need is some urban blight, and get maybe a couple gang wars and LA will be affordable.
Yeah, just plummet.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it'll all blow up here. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I haven't talked to a ton of people, but there's been tech companies coming here for a lot longer than before COVID started. So the gentrification of what's happening in Austin, from the little I know, has started before that. It's just COVID kind of ramped it up. So
100%.
I hear I hear
our now mutual friend Robert Dean has been trying to get me to move to Austin for a couple of years now.
Oh, yeah.
And has been telling me about like how much they hate Californians because they fuck up the property values and all that shit.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, from what I've experienced. So I'm speaking strictly from my personal experience in only a few months. Is also there's like a California attitude that I think a lot of people in Texas are worried about, because Texas has its own style to be respectful. California has its own style. New York has its own style. Us Chicagoans, or Chicagolandians, as I like to say, everyone's kind of got their own style, and Texas and California feel like have butted heads. So when I tell people, when they ask me where I'm from or whatever, I make sure to let them know, born and raised in Chicagoland, did 6 years in LA. That's where I'm from. That's where I was raised. That's where I honed all my skills. But I did LA for 6 years in the comedy scene. So I like to make it very clear to Texans. And I was at this place last night, a tamale joint called Rosie's, about 40 minutes away from my house. And I was like, the guy knew it was my first time. He read me, I looked like a city boy. And he's like, first time here? I go, yeah. He's like, where are you from? I'm like, okay, let me explain. And he just stopped and was like, what? I go, I'm from Chicagoland, but I did my 6-year stint in LA. And he goes, that's a good way to put it. And I go, yes. I go, I'm born and raised in Chicagoland. So, yeah.
Nobody's from fucking here. Like, how long do you got to be here before you're actually considered an Angelino is the question.
I've heard 5, I've heard 10 years. I think 10 years, is really it feels like if you're anywhere 10 years, you really kind of absorb that world. So that's kind of what I would throw out there. That's why I'm a Chicagoan through and through, Chicagolandian through and through. So.
Well, I don't know, man. Like, I got 30 in Chicago, like the greater Chicago area, and then, technically 3 years in Vegas and 6 in LA so far. So,
You're a Chicagoan. You're
a
Chicago guy. The way you drink, the way you act, we stick out in any city you go to.
Except Chicago.
Then that's a good thing.
Then we're just drunk. Then we're just drunk jagoffs like everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, man, how is the comedy scene down there? You digging it?
Yeah, I like it. I've been to a lot of open mics, a couple of shows. I've just been hitting the open mics, not just to perform, but also to kind of scout the talent for the Dojo ATX, which I launched yesterday officially. I booked my first show for next week. So I've been out and about as much as I can be without burning myself out. I went to about 5 or 10 mics in shows, networking, talking to people. Everyone's been incredibly warm and welcoming for the most part. There are some people that I feel have a little bit of a reservation with me and with what's happening with this influx of comics. And I was like, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm like, how many LA comics are on your open mic stage? 1 or 2, including myself. I go, wait till after the new year. It's going to be a heck of a lot more.
Well, especially since they closed down restaurants till December 20th, which includes the fucking store.
Yep.
So if they push that past into the new year, if the store stays closed, the Improv, if the big stages stay closed down here and they're open down there, people are gonna go.
Yeah. See, the cool thing with LA and California, or any really warm city or state, but especially LA because it's the mecca of comedy, and New York. I'm not taking away from New York, but LA is a warm city. They can do the outdoor shit. They can do outdoor shows in a park, in a parking lot, in a field, whatever the fuck they need to do. They can do that. They can get away with it. New York, it's not going to happen. It's too fucking cold.
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous. Like, speaking of, like, the outdoor eating and all that shit, like, I'm seeing pictures from friends back in Chicago where, like, oh, our outdoor eating is open. It's basically a tent. Like, how's that outdoor eating?
Yeah. It's, I've seen pictures where people are like, how is this outdoor eating okay and being in a restaurant is not okay? It's like, it's just weird what's happening right now.
Well, and that's the problem.
California, to me, it doesn't make sense. You're taking an enclosure and saying you can't go there, and then you're building another enclosure that's outside of the enclosure and saying you can eat there, and it's like, what?
Oh yeah,
like, what?
And on a logical level, it makes no sense. On another level, it's like, well, these people are getting no aid, and it's either take a risk or starve. That's where they're at.
Yes, dude. And that is across the board. This has no longer become a political issue because I see Republicans, Democrats, liberals, and conservatives on Twitter joining, which is a fucking first to me because all they do is fucking argue and hate each other. They're joining forces and they're like, this is bullshit. It's become like a human rights issue to me. You're shutting businesses down and people too, not just businesses, but small business owner, medium, and all their staff. And you're not doing anything to compensate. We were talking about our state unemployment, which is fucking pebbles. I couldn't live on that. There's no way my entire state unemployment would not be able to pay 1 month of rent. So,
dude,
what are these people doing?
The state unemployment, the average unemployment in California couldn't afford you a tent on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, it's awful. And it's like, oh, we're going to, California and whatever other states, or we're going to shut down, no this, no that. Okay, cool. Then pay me. Give me a UBI and give me free healthcare, anything, even this. I would consider a healthcare that's just for COVID related. I could even manage that, but fuck that. It should be free fucking healthcare through this, and there should be a UBI and a stimulus check. All three of it, that's it. Yeah. That's how it should be. But our country doesn't give a shit. Our country cares about us. Our politicians don't.
Right, which is crazy.
It's the curtain is starting to be pulled, and people are starting to see that it's not just, as I look like I'm jerking off two guys at once.
I mean, that's a good visual look for you, so that's fine.
I don't want to go off on my political thing because it's not. It's a social thing, but people are starting to see that both sides are kind of cunts. One side could be a hell of a lot more cunts than the other, but it makes me uncomfortable because it's like, it makes me uncomfortable, but comfortable at the same time because I've always believed that it's a two-headed snake, and it's just whichever one is biting more or less in that tenure of their term or whatnot.
Oh yeah,
and it's I sincerely fucking feel for people. Like, I mean, not just videos that go viral, but people I know that are like, I'm fucking shut down again. I can't do anything. How am I going to fucking eat?
Well, and it's fucked. And what's super fucked about it is like it's pitted working class people against working class people in a lot of cases. Because like, for whatever reason, filming is essential right now. Filming is considered essential.
Do you know why?
Yeah. But the thing about it is like...
Yes! That's it!
Well, yeah, that's the same reason that retail's allowed to stay open this time around at 20% capacity.
Yep.
But what's fucked is, I've seen a bunch of videos from restaurant workers being pissed off that there's film crews working. It's like, yeah, the actors in a mainstream production, those fucking people could get away with not working. The crews?
Yep.
The people that are on the ground on that fucking film probably are in just as bad a situation as you are. So yeah, they're taking a risk to fucking make money. So it's a fucked situation. It's like, on a logical level, on a non-greed level, retail and fucking filming should not be open right now.
Yeah, it's also it's the union. You know, I'm sure that high level union, the people that we don't know about, the guy behind the guy behind the guy behind the guy, you know, reference to swingers. Those are the ones that are probably calling Gavin Newsom or Mayor Garcetti and saying, no, we're gonna start running. You know, we're gonna start producing and shooting again. And that's because LA is, you know, run by the entertainment industry.
Well, yeah, and
So
that's the thing. Or do you have? Who knows if the major studios are calling the mayor's office and be like, "We're just going to move productions to places we can film."
that's exactly what's happening.
You know, hey,
They're
hey, film
losing
LA.
out on those taxes.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, now is it? I think only 30% of movies, films, whatever, are filmed in LA. So many have moved to Canada and other parts of the country.
Oh yeah, I mean Austin has a fair amount of shit going on down there.
Yeah, Atlanta's a huge hub.
Atlanta's a huge.
like
New,
that's a big hub.
New Orleans was
Yeah.
big until Louisiana decided to fuck themselves.
Yep. Yeah. And Canada, of course, Canada has all the tax cuts. So, you know, I'm sure it was a lot of the what do you call it? The donors, the high level donors of the studio heads and studio executives and production studios. I'm sure a lot of those donors that donate to the big, you know, Gavin Newsom, Eric Garcetti, whoever else is out there, are saying, we're not going to donate to your campaign anymore if you don't, unless you reopen or let us film and shoot. So they're like, okay, you know, we want your $1 million paycheck next time we campaign to run for mayor or governor.
And just also the tax base, you know, filming, getting permits is fucking expensive. The fact that, you know, most films form their own LLC for the individual production.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's tax revenue that just goes out the fucking window. It's definitely economics of it. But fuck. We got to stop treating this like, oh, hey, it's only a public health crisis until like there's real money involved.
And that's exactly what's happened. You know, it's become, people are saying it's become political. I go, it's become corporate. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
And corporations own a lot of politicians. So it's kind of like, I don't consider America a democracy. I don't consider it a capitalistic country. I consider it a corporation. It's a fucking corporation. It's a money-making machine. That's what it is right now. And entertainment is what drives people to Hollywood and Los Angeles from all over the world. And that's what's been keeping it going. And that's what reopened. To say that filming a fucking TV show is essential, but you know, a restaurant providing food to people outdoors safely is not.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like.
Yeah, it's 100% monetarily motivated. I mean, if they really give a fuck, when we had the first stay-at-home order, it would have been a real stay-at-home order and been like, here's your care package of supplies you need. Here's your fucking money. Stay the fuck home.
Yeah, why did the National Guard show up on Hollywood Boulevard to fucking drive around for a few days? Were they showing off their new trucks, their new fucking toys, their new outfits? They drove around, they didn't do anything. Everyone's just like, okay, well, I'm going to go back inside because this is fucking creepy. You know, if my dad was alive, he would have been like, oh, wow, this reminds me of Nazi Germany. And they're fucking driving around with their trucks, but they didn't do anything. It's not like they were like driving down the street with megaphones telling people to stay home, stay inside. They're just driving around, like hanging out, and then they left. And I was like, what the fuck? That was so weird. It was just kind of creepy.
Well, the whole thing's so fucking weird. Like, LA's on a stay-at-home order right now. Who knows? Is LAPD actually enforcing that shit? Like, I had to run. Nope. I had to run to Metropolitan Courthouse today. I was definitely stuck in traffic on the 101 coming home.
Yeah. Orange County sheriffs are not enforcing it, and Riverside County sheriffs are not enforcing it. They put out pieces of literature on social media and a video, and they're not enforcing stay-at-home or the stay-at-home orders or enforcing any sort of ticketing or violations or whatever for small businesses that are trying to stay open or reopening because they're, I mean, you got to think these police officers are making whatever, $40,000-$60,000 a year. Their neighbors are small business owners and small business employees, not just owners. Yeah. You got to think of all the other people involved. So they live in a house or an apartment, and their fucking neighbor is not working. because they're maybe a chef at a restaurant or a manager at a Taco Bell or something, and it's like they need to make their money too. Actually, Taco Bell's open because it's Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Corporations are open, big corporations.
Well,
just like
restaurants, restaurants are open for to-go orders. It just, in an industry in a town where it's almost all service industry, like you're not going to make any fucking money on takeout. Like it's just not going to happen. Like I don't even know what like the appropriate amount to tip on takeout is at this point.
I don't either. I tip everywhere I go. It's a minimum 20% and up. I mean, I go to this local place for coffee. I get 1 or 2 coffees. I tip $5, and I mean they're doing fine. But it's also it's a private business, so I don't mind tipping more.
Yeah.
I try to spread the wealth as much as I can. I don't have a lot of money. I'm not making any money right now, so I'm doing my best to be frugal and help the economy and the local.
Trevor, you got to work on that 2-dick technique you're working on, man. You'll make some money. Don't worry. There you go. You're getting there. You're getting there.
Yeah. Just need work.
I mean, and that's the thing. That's all of us.
Yeah. I talked to a lot of people back in LA about it, and I'm like, what are you guys going to do? And nobody knows. They're kind of feel like a lot of people are just waiting, and I don't like that. I don't like to wait for somebody else to make a decision for my life. I'm like, after I got sober and lived off of that stabbing, I'm like, I'm not going to let someone else run my life ever again and make decisions for me. I'm going to make every decision I can within my power to do what I want to do, and no longer let somebody else stab me and tell me that they're going to make me do what they want to do. Stab me.
That looks more like a BJ there, Trevor. Just
what's that?
That looks much more like a BJ than a stabbing. Just
I think Tripoli, he had a roast joke. He said Trevor's the only guy that goes to San Diego to get stabbed in the neck so a tranny can fuck him. How do you know that, Sam? How do you know this?
Well, obviously Sam was holding the camera.
This is true.
Camera with one and dick with the other.
God, I miss him.
Where is Sammy these days?
He's in LA. He was just in St. Louis for a show, and he's going to be in Jersey next weekend for a show at the Dojo East. We have a club out in New Jersey about an hour and a half west of New York City. So he's going to be doing a weekend there at the Dojo East. Yeah, he's good.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't talked to Sammy in a minute.
Yeah, he did a podcast yesterday with Brian Kalin. They have this podcast where they just kind of battle each other. Sam does this conspiracy and Brian does like anti-conspiracy kind of shit. It's pretty funny. They have a good mix. So
yeah, they were always fun on Rogan together.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
but no, man, I totally feel on not letting wine to be under the fucking control of just sitting and waiting. That's why I'm still producing content as much as I fucking can. I'm still pumping out a podcast a week. I'm still doing I'm trying to hustle as much as I can. Some of it though, I am sitting around and waiting because it's the responsible thing to do. If it's a choice between I'm going to starve and I got to go take some risky job, I'm going to go take a risky job, but I'm going to hold out as long as I can to not take a job where I could potentially get sick and fuck myself even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I mean, it's, I don't want it to get to the point for anybody where it's going to be, sink or swim. And that's kind of where it's going.
That's almost everyone I know. Almost everyone I know is in sink or swim at the moment.
There's some outrageous number. I want to say, I don't quote me, but I want to say 19 million people might be out of their home by December 31st, or could be, because that's when they lift the
moratorium.
Rent to mortgage moratorium. And I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, that means the banks take that fucking house over or condo or whatever. And I'm like, this seems like they don't have a lot of time. It's the 9th of December. They're saying 31st of December this is going to happen. I'm like,
the PUA,
that's uncomfortable fuck.
Yeah, the PUA ends on December 26th. So if you were self-employed, getting unemployment or were on the 13-week extension for regular unemployment, that's part of the CARES Act that expires December 26th.
Fuck. I'm on that.
Yep. No matter how many weeks you got left, it is gone December 26th.
They what do you call it? I just saw today that there's another stimulus package or bill that they're trying to do, and they're saying it's like a $908 billion package that the federal government would come in and give people take over where the state left off with the X amount a week or a month. I think it was a week, 300 a week or something, but there would be no stimulus check sent out.
Correct.
And I was like, I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
They're
only helping
forcing people not.
Oh, God. Sorry.
What's that?
Go ahead.
Yeah. They're, it's like people need to work. People, if there's no jobs, they can't go to it. Like Yelp stated recently in Business Insider that 60% of businesses that shut down will not reopen. I'm like, that's enormous. Like, they're forcing everybody to get big jobs with big corporations. Is that the play here? I don't know.
Yeah, but the problem is there's only so many jobs there. Like, and not everyone who lost their job at a small business is qualified to go. It's not like I'm out of work, I'm just going to instantly get a job. Like, no, I have to work in my field, what I'm competent in doing. Or, I got to take an entry-level job, compete against other people for entry-level jobs, and not make enough money to afford the lifestyle that I already have. And it's not like, oh, hey, because throughout this, of course, I have well-meaning friends and family who are like, oh, you can come stay with me, you should just leave LA, you should, I'm like, I have a fucking lease here. I have a fucking life here. Like, I should. No, fuck that.
I had some of my brother and my cousin both were like, if you need to stay with me as long as you can back in the Midwest. And I'm like, first of all, I don't want to go to the Midwest during wintertime.
Fuck no.
I was like, I appreciate it, but I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with that. Secondly, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not just going to sit around and just wait it out. It's been 9 months. Like, I'm like, I can't just wait it out any longer. I've got to do something to better myself. That was one of the big reasons why I moved to a state that was opening correctly. And it's like, I can at least find work here if I need to. And I did. I was working at a restaurant for a few weeks, but it was nights. That was the problem. I'm like, I can't work at a restaurant 5 nights a week when I'm trying to run, start a comedy scene here. That's obviously at night. So I had to, leave that job. But if it wasn't for leaving that job, I wouldn't have what I have now. So, yeah.
And that's one of the things I've always admired about you is you're a hustler. Like, for the audience who doesn't know, before the Dojo comedy was a thing, Trevor started off at what was, Happy Endings or whatever at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Happy Endings.
As a busboy.
Yep. 37-year-old busboy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And by the time COVID hit, he was a manager and fucking running a pretty successful fucking comedy room.
Yeah. It was, my 2020 pre-COVID, pre-Rona was solid. I had a lot of shit on the calendar. I was building. It was just growing, and I had some big shows that I had, in the books with some great, local and big names, and I was so excited for this year. And then boom, March 14th, I think is when we shut down, and I'm like, I just had a feeling, dude. I had a feeling. I'm like, this. I don't think this is gonna, this is gonna go anywhere. I think this is it. So, it was good. Things were up. We were out of the red. We were in the black as far as, finances go. I helped rebuild that business. I was really proud of that. The little support I had from the business end of it, it was all the support I got was through comedians and producers, and Sam and all the producers I worked with, like Jimmy Shin Show, people like that, and the comedians that talked about on their podcast, Bert Kreischer, Whitney Cummings, not the name drop, but it's true. They helped. Joey Diaz talked about it, I think after the fact, but these bigger names who have a wider audience of, podcasts and whatnot spoke about it. And that helps, that's kind of how the Comedy Store got rebuilt. If you watch the documentary, all these comedians like Rogan and all the big names started talking about the Comedy Store on all their podcasts.
Part of me kind of hates that they did, because when I first moved to LA, was going to the store, and I loved that I could just walk in there any night of the week and just like, I'm going to walk into a show. And then like pre-COVID, right at the end there, 2019, early 2020, it's like, fuck, I know people here and I still can't get into some shows.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts, man. I remember when I moved to LA, I would go to the Comedy Store 3 to 5 days a week by myself. And I would sit in the front row, and it was back then, I think it was Brent Biddleton. I can't pronounce his name, but Brent Biddleton, whatever. He was, I think he's a social media guy. Sam was telling me about this, but he would post on like Twitter and Instagram, show this at the door and get in for free. So I was going to the late shows in the OR, and I'd show the thing at the door, and they let me in for free. And I'd sit by myself up front, get my 2-drink minimum, and I'd just take notes on all the comics, and then I would kind of like talk to them a little bit afterward, and they're all really cool. And it was just, but I would stay the whole show, and I would watch, because the best of the best go to the Comedy Store and get past. So it was like, okay, this is where I'm going to go, kind of get my feet wet as far as like taking in stuff. And I did that for like 6 solid months. Yeah, it worked out. I mean,
yeah. And 2 or 3 years later, you became an okay comic.
Yeah, okay, decent. I've been at it almost 6 years now, and for with the LA, I call it the LA 6 years, because in Chicago I dabbled, but I was also hosting live events. I was doing a shitload of writing for a couple different websites, including my own, and I was just kind of like that, like hosting, it's like not improv, but like ad-libbing, and just, an MC, and just being around people and being able to, shoot off jokes and all that. And that kind of got me comfortable in my own skin. And then LA, it was just like, that's great. You're comfortable in your own skin. What do you got? You know, can you write? Can you tell a joke? And
do you have any stage presence? Because that guy all do.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched comics, from all over, like amazing writers, but I watch them on stage and I'm like, you're not funny. You got a good joke, but you're just not funny. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, your
and then I see
sucks.
people that are like, I see people kind of like a little rough or riffing, but their stage presence is amazing. And I'm like, to me personally, I love that. Joke writing is its own skill that you could go write for, for TV shows and whatnot and do great. But then you find that people that are just kind of everything, you're like, oh, look at this motherfucker. So
I know.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see what the comedy scene's like post-COVID, whenever the fuck that happens.
Yeah. I don't think LA is going to like fail by any means. It's going to bounce back. It's just going to be different. I think people are going to leave and they're going to get comfortable where they've left to. Like here in Austin or Nashville's a place a lot of people are going to. Florida, a lot of comics are going to Florida because it's fucking open. That's like fucking its own world in Florida.
Well, Florida's always been its own fucking world.
Yeah, it's true. I think. Yeah, it's but now it's like, it's like it's always been this. And now it's like everyone's kind of got their eye on it, and people are, but it's people that want to continue and stay in entertainment, they're going to go where they can. And if California, New York, and Illinois are not going to allow it, then they're going to leave. And, it's like rent might go down in LA, but if you get comfortable paying $800 a month, a rent out in wherever, Texas somewhere or Florida, like, do you want to go back to, $1,900 rents? So it's just to each their own.
Yeah. I mean, I love LA. Well, I love pre-COVID LA.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it's going to be like post-COVID, but pre-COVID, there's nowhere else in the States I'd want to live.
Yeah. I mean, I was dead set on LA, but then I got to the point where I was like, I just really want to have something. Like, I had the dojo, but it's like, it was never totally mine, because it was the brick and mortar that I wanted, and I know that Sam and I, when we built it, it was a brand. It was an idea that you can kind of take anywhere, obviously, since we've done it. But it was like, it's different when you have like your name on something physical, that's there. It's like that's a whole different story rather than just kind of like floating it around places. Brands are cool. Brands the way to go because you have to pay the overhead. But when you leave, states that are expensive and too hard to start a business, it's like you can actually do this. I'm like, I could build something here.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely afford your own home at some point. Yeah, Robert told me like at points where his mortgage was less than my rent. I'm like, just fuck.
Yeah.
God damn it! You have a multiple bedroom house, and I have half in an apartment. Not giving up on LA yet. I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
No, I get it, man. I know most of the people I know don't want to leave and haven't yet. Some people have like kind of like retreated back to their hometown, at least for now. But it's like LA is where things happen. It's the entertainment capital. It's it's where the agents and managers are. If you want to get in, like on that level, you work in adult film as well, so that's where they are. It's not like they're in fucking Dallas or something or
nope.
Memphis.
My choices would be go back to Vegas or move to South Florida.
Okay, like Miami.
Yeah, there's production there's production in both Orlando and Miami.
Okay,
mostly Miami, and then a lot of productions moved to Vegas over the years. I did it wrong. Like I went to Vegas first because we were all expecting adult to be fully moved there like by like 2013. And then it really started moving there like 2017, 2018. But by that point, I was already in LA for a couple of years.
Okay.
But at this point, I don't just want to work in adult. I was on a porn set this week, so. Filming's legal, baby.
That's right. Filming's legal, Yep. Gotta have the porn.
Yep. That's essential.
It's essential.
It's essential.
It's essential. Essential oils.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, no, I actually was on 3 days of working crew on a porn set this week, so.
Good, man. Can make that money.
Yeah, making some money. And at least the nice thing about porn is they're skeleton crews. Like, on Friday we had me, the director, a sound guy, and 2 cameramen, and 1 couple for talent. We only shot 1 scene. Like, that was everybody.
Wow. That is a skeleton crew.
And then Sunday, it was me, a photographer, the director, the sound guy was doubling as the lighting guy, and then 2 couples throughout the day. Like, we did 2 boy-girl scenes.
Yeah.
And then and then Monday was me, the director, the sound and light guy. We didn't even have a photographer, and then 2 couples.
Jeez.
And then the best part, the power went out at the set. So the second couple, dialogue and sex that we had to shoot as fast as we humanly could by daylight and battery-powered fucking quasar lights.
Oh my God.
And
was that power outage because they didn't pay their bills or because there's a power outage?
The house that we were shooting at was up in fucking like the deep valley, like where they had some of the fires like in the last couple of years. And when it gets super windy, the power company's just like, we're not taking a risk.
Yep. The brownouts, yeah.
Yeah, they just they cut the power. Like, it's like, oh, cool, that's awesome. Like it was like 2:30 when the power went up. We would just set up for dialogue, and we're like, okay, so I guess we're doing this. Originally, the scene was supposed to be, I'm sure people want to hear what it's like being on a porn set, but we were originally supposed to do dialogue in a living room scene and then move to a bedroom, and it was just like, we don't have time to reset everything. Y'all are fucking on this couch.
Wow.
Yeah, we got limited daylight here. We're not moving set pieces. We're not, fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the setup was
almost like guerrilla shooting. Guerrilla shooting, kind of. Yeah.
I mean, porn started as an outlaw industry, and it still very much treats itself like it still is. Not to say that we're not taking precautions. Like, I was the PA. I took everyone's temperatures they got on set, checked their COVID test results. They were doing a 24-hour COVID test, so.
Okay. That's good.
But it was also really fucking anxiety-inducing to find out, like, Oh, hey Matt, I'm glad you were able to do this last minute. Yeah, like a couple whole crews are down with COVID exposure, so yeah, we're short staffed. I'm like, oh, cool, yay.
Well, at least you got some work in. Fuck.
Yep. At least I got to leave my house and realize that like I haven't worked an actual full day of work in like 8 or 9 months. So got home after a 10-hour day on set and just was exhausted.
Yep. I went through that. I had a job out here for 3 weeks and I was working 5-6 days a night, like 3 to 11. And it was almost like a labor job. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm 42 and overweight. I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. I get home, I feel like dog shit. I feel like I was practicing again in football when I was a kid. I'm like, I feel like shit. Like, nah.
It's like, what the fuck, man? That's why I'm afraid, like, if COVID goes much longer, like, how bad a shape I'll be to, like, actually work.
Yeah.
By the time I'm like, I don't want to be on my feet for 10 hours. I mean, I never wanted to be on my feet for 10 hours, but at least, you know,
yeah.
It used to be I could hold a boom or fucking be running around as a PA for fucking 10 hours and it would suck, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm like, I got home and I needed to pop a couple Advil because like my feet were killing me and it was just like, my body's like, what are you doing, dude? You're not supposed to be upright that long. Why aren't you on the couch? You belong on the couch.
My body was like, why do you keep bending over to pick shit up that's fucking 30 pounds all day? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm supposed to, I think. I was like, no, you're not supposed to. Maybe 20 years ago, but not anymore. It reminds me, I'll get these like random like jolt of feeling through my neck where I still have like a lack of feeling. And I'd be doing something like, holy shit. And I'm like, felt like I got fucking electrocuted because it's like my nerves like kind of regenerating. And I think that's also age telling me like, dude, it's time to slow down. You don't need to work like you're 20 anymore, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like, fuck.
It was one of those things where like, as a teenager in my 20s, I'm like, why would anyone wish for death? And I'm like, I already feel this bad in my late 30s. I don't want to feel how bad I'm going to feel in my 60s or 70s if I make it that long. I totally get why old people wish for death now.
Yeah.
Trevor's like, oh, that got dark. Fuck.
Death is the promised land for all of us.
Sadly.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any orgasms on the other side. So, like, I'm kind of bummed about it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, now that we got it was. Do you see this shit with Israel, the Israeli former head of security,
like,
and the alien Galactic Federation? I was like, this is awesome. 2020 kicks ass.
Well, that's one of those things where, like, well, according to this dude, we peacefully coexist with the aliens already. Totally makes sense why Trump wanted a space force. Totally.
Fuck yeah. I couldn't get down with that name, Space Force. I'm like, it just sounded like a fucking like a parody to Star Trek. I'm like, Space Force? Like, what are you doing, dude?
I don't know. Air Force. We have an Air Force. So what do you want to call the...
Yeah, but Air Force is different. It's like, it's here. Space Force. Like, what are we gonna force? Like, we can't dance with the aliens. They'll fucking annihilate us in a heartbeat. Like, how about just like space program?
We already have one of those.
You know? Yeah, just extend it, you know? He wanted to rebrand.
Why don't they, how about Earth Defense Force?
There we go. Yeah.
Because it's like, we have a Department of Defense, we don't have a Department of War, even though the Department of Defense definitely is an offensive department.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're definitely we're an offensive team. We're like about 95 to 5%. We've had 2 major hits and that's it. And I guess a civil war.
And a civil war.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had I mean,
9/11 and Pearl Harbor, that's it. I think is our only 2 like
on U.S. soil, yeah. Like, but we definitely had
on U.S. soil.
We've definitely had embassies bombed in other countries.
Yeah, and aircraft carriers and whatnot.
Yeah, aircraft carriers. There's the whole fucking Iranian fucking embassy takeover in the 70s.
Yeah, that's right. Was that Argo?
Yeah, that's what
Is
Argo
that
was
what
based
this is
off.
about?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
which just was his own debacle where like, oh hey, we need to sell. How did the Iran Contra situation? It's like, we smuggle guns one way, drugs one way, and money to the Iranians. Like
yeah,
it was all like
yeah.
the CIA is just like
And
we got it covered.
we just gotta we just gotta break all the laws and all the rules so we can get what we want to get, and then still put people in jail for what we're essentially doing
Yeah,
because we're trying to track it. All of us, we're trying to track it. I'm like, no, you're trying to track it and hijack it and then take over. I'm like, why do you think there's armed soldiers in poppy fields in Afghanistan? Like, what are they guarding poppy fields? Why poppy fields? I don't know. What do you use poppy for?
bagels, obviously,
Oh, just bagels.
and
Yeah,
hot dogs
nothing
and
else.
hot dog buns, traditional hot dog
Yes,
buns.
hot dog. Yes, America.
America.
Mm.
Yeah, it's crazy though. The House passed, ending marijuana prohibition,
God, finally.
but
I think everyone's just like, let's fucking do this already.
but also my response to that was the House also passed the fucking Heroes Act, which has gone a whole lot of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Like the House passed stimulus
All
back in
they're
fucking
doing,
May.
yeah, $1,200 for the country versus literally every other country that's still in some sort of shutdown is paying their people, except for the United States. I don't know if you watch any Jimmy Dore stuff. He breaks it all down. He has a list of all the countries. All of them are paying their citizens that have been shut down, except for the United States of America.
It's crazy. I didn't mean to bring it back around to that. I just thought it was funny because everyone was all like overjoyed about the House passing that shit. It's like, yeah, it's still probably gonna fucking go nowhere until sometime next year if it goes somewhere.
Yeah. And, they just got to find the way to tax it right so they can take their 25%. I think that's what it is. I don't know. I've never bought from a head shop.
Yeah, you're
There we
showing your
go.
age. Fucking head shop.
Yeah.
The-
I mean,
Would you like a
those
tobacco water
fucking
pipe, sir?
dude, some of these I go in and I'm like, that's not even for smoking weed. That's literally a fucking meth or crack pipe. I'm like, no one smokes weed out of that pipe. No one. No one. Like, people will smoke weed out of an apple before that fucking crack pipe. What the fuck are you doing? It's like, come on.
Oh my god! But what? California has a 30% tax on recreational.
I think so. Yeah, I know it's fucking super high. One of my housemates I lived with, he was go and buy from you know, the weed shop, and then I was like, how much is this shit? And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, when I smoked before I quit and everything, I had a dealer that was selling his own growing and selling his own shit in his house. He was like a private dealer, and I only bought from him because I didn't have to pay an extra fucking $25 for to the government. I just buy off of him.
Well,
And
I
I
mean,
was
it's the
like,
same
I like
reason.
this better.
It's the same reason there's still bootleggers out there.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just
bootlegging
like,
only
fuck
exists
that.
to avoid taxes.
Yeah. Especially when they're outrageous.
100%. And it's easier to cultivate marijuana than it is to distill alcohol.
That's true. That's very true. It's a plant that needs a lot of care.
Yeah.
I considered it, but I don't smoke anymore. But I was like, I did this shit in high school. I'm like, I could probably brush up on it, but I'm like, there's too many people that are getting into it and, excuse me, learning about the whole, cultivating and cropping. And I'm like, it's already kind of like such a big trend that I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother. There's gonna be another trend eventually that's gonna be big and good for people. And
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it's just gonna be coffee, you know?
no. Come on. Trevor, get ahead of the curve. Heroin's gonna make a comeback.
Dude, Oregon. Look what Oregon did, man. or not legalizing.
Decriminalize.
I think that decriminalizing, there's a huge difference. People are saying they legalized heroin. I'm like, they decriminalized, recreational, whatever the fuck it's called. I was like, there's a big difference.
Oh, but you get hit with, I think, a $50 fine.
Yeah.
For possession or whatever. It's like, I don't know, man. If I was a crackhead, I'm not gonna have $50 to pay that fine. I would have bought more crack with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a tweet joke about it a few weeks ago. I said, I'm going to move to Oregon and open up a business of funeral parlors and rehab centers. So I can get them on both ends. You want to go to rehab? I got something for you. And then when you OD from all the fucking fentanyl that you're going to end up snorting or smoking, here you go. Here's a nice, I've got a deal for you. 20% off any fentanyl deaths. I can say that because my brother died of fentanyl.
I mean, you can say it anyways. What are you going to call it? Trevor's Recycling Center?
Oh, ooh, that's good. That's really good. I have it both. It's kind of like what the drug companies do. They find a cure for something or something to not cure, but a pill or liquid to make you feel better after you force it down you.
What, are you not taking the vaccine when it comes out?
I don't know if I want to take the first round. I want to let some people die first, and then
Trevor,
they're going to fix it.
Trevor, you're not in the tax bracket for the first round.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, sorry, not the first round. The volume 1 of the COVID vaccine. I don't want to take it.
You're still not in the tax bracket for volume 1, sir. You're not in the right tax bracket.
There'll be like a second version. It'll be like, oh well, that one had too many proteins or not enough proteins or enzymes, or whatever the fuck's in there. We need to make a new one. So I'm gonna let everyone kind of like get sick or die out, and then I'll consider it.
Well, what's crazy to me about it is, I mean, it's not crazy, but it's how bad it's gonna fail on some levels. It's a 2-dose vaccine, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
The first dose is shown as a known side effect to give mild COVID symptoms.
Yeah. And they're saying mild, but it could be worse for other people. So the people.
Right. But even people that like the mild ones don't sound fun. And I'm just going to I'm skeptical that people are going to show up for the second dose.
Yeah, that's very true. This is what I think. The first dose is a placebo that is actually going to have a tracking device that's not technically a microchip, but it's going to track you from the inside as like it's going to track your body and DNA. And rather than like tracking you like your phone already does, we're all tracked already.
Right.
But it's going to track your insides. It's a different type of tracking. And then the second dose is actually going to be the vaccine itself. What do you think of that? That's a cool sci-fi fucking series, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first
dose... Sign me, Hollywood.
The first dose gives you that clock from out of time on your arm, so you can know how much time you got left.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, there's like these things inside you, this stuff, and it's reporting back to... It's kind of like Inner Space, which is going to age me and age people that get the reference. It's like Inner Space. It's going to be like little... What the fuck's his name? Martin Short inside of a little thing floating around, and it's going to be sending signals back to the so ridiculous. This is what I think about. Be sending signals back to like the place to Bill Gates or whoever, Pfizer. So they're going to have these all these like super smart computers are going to be computing you from the inside and learning about your body and molecule structure and DNA. And the second shot's going to come. That's going to be the actual vaccine.
The problem is, Trevor, there's people that actually believe that kind of shit. Like legit believe it. It's like that is the most inefficient way to do that ever.
I know. It'd be funny though.
Oh yeah.
Someone were like, what if it was true? And then like, there's like just some scientist that is like behind it is like, how did this fucking reject know about this shit? God.
Well,
we gotta try and kill him again.
I'm just waiting for when they send me the message of like, how are you still alive?
It's all that fucking Malorts that you drank in Chicago.
Fucking Malort.
You're immune to anything now.
I wish.
Dude, I drank half a bottle of Malorts with my friend Jen at a bar in Bolingbrook like 5 or 6 years ago. Literally half a bottle. I'm not kidding. We were shooting Malorts all night and I was drinking Coors Light to wash it down. And I was like, it didn't faze me. She's like, let's just do Malorts all night. I'm like, okay. By the time we closed out, it was 2 in the morning. Was I forgot, Clementine's in Bolingbrook.
Oh God, I've been there.
Little dive bar, yeah, right next to Tailgaters. And the bartender, this chick named Sunny, super fucking cool. She was like, "You guys drink half a bottle of Malorts?" I'm like, "I can tell. I saw my tab." Like, holy shit!
But in the reality of the situation, they should have been paying you to take it off the shelf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my lord.
That's become like the thing now. It's like, it's become that it went from like a hipster drink to whatever the fuck it is now.
Well, it's one of those things where I don't think anyone actually likes it. I think everyone does it to prove how hard they are.
Mm-hmm. It's Chicago. That's Chicago drinking. Can you drink till 4 a.m. without doing any drugs? Yes. All right, you're in.
Can you drink till 5? No problem. Can you go to a key club afterwards? Okay.
Yep.
Is the sun coming up when you go home? Probably.
Hollywood Grill it is.
Yep. Oh, fucking greasy ass Hollywood Grill. Oh.
Yeah.
Obviously, wearing this shirt, I've spent many a night in Hollywood Grill.
Yes, you have. Last time I was there was 2 years ago. When I was with Sam and Eddie in Chicago for their show. They wanted to go to a dive bar, and Eddie Bravo's a big rock and roll guy. So we took an Uber to exit, and this other guy, Reed, that was in the show, and they're like, what the fuck is this place? I'm like, this is a Chicago dive bar. Like, this is rock and roll dive. They're like, where the fuck are we? They walked in, they had like the busted ass floor and shit. They were not expecting that. I was like, this is a real dive bar,
Oh yeah.
Not the cool, clean, trendy ones you see in Hollywood. I'm like, this is an actual dive bar.
Yeah, this is an actual giant dive bar.
Yeah, giant dive bar.
The amount of bacteria in those bathrooms, that's really what gives it immortality. If that hasn't killed you, you'll live forever.
Yeah. I agree with that, man. Fuck.
I know people that have had sex in that bathroom and lived to tell about it somehow.
I didn't realize how big that place was because I hadn't been there in so long. And when I went back, I was like, holy shit. And then anytime I'd been there in the past, I was tanked. It was like that last bar to go to. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I didn't realize it was this fucking big.
Well, a lot of people forget that there's a second floor.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where I was like, was I ever up there? Like, what the fuck am I?
Well, especially after, I forgot what year it was. There used to be, it was a back stairwell that you took to get up to the second floor, and there was like a coat check before you went up to the second floor. And then sometime in like the mid-2000s, the back stairwell got condemned. There's a front stairwell you take now, and the back stairwell got like completely gutted, torn out, and it's like just a metal outdoor stairwell to get up to the second floor on the outside that's not open to the public.
Shit.
Yeah, I remember like
fucking aim.
Going to exit back in the day. It's like, you would coat check on your way up to the second floor, and then there would be like a little cubby with like buckets of ice beer. Like, do you want a beer here? Or, when you got into the there was a bar right there, and then another bar.
Yeah.
Because upstairs is where like the dance floor was.
Yeah. When I started at the lodge in Four Lakes, even before I worked there, but when I started there, it was like the fucking place in all the western suburbs. Like, it was fucking packed 5 nights a week, like capacity. And they had a beer tub right when you walk in with like whatever special they had, and Miller Lite, of course, and then like a bottle of Jaeger and a bottle of Bacardi O on ice, and then just cases of fucking Monster for bombs. And there's another beer tub on the dance floor, and then the big bar in the middle, and then the back bar on the dance floor. So it was, they're putting 500 people in there 3 to 5 nights a week. So that was, I was like, this is insane.
What else are you going to do in fucking Chicago? Get fucking wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when it's shitty half the year, weather wise, it's like it's cold, it's raining or snowing, or all three. And you're like, I'm not going to stay home. I've stayed home all week. I'm going to go get tanked at the lodge.
Oh, I know. That's why I used to not go out on Friday and Saturday nights, because like it was tourist season. Because all the all the motherfuckers that had like been in all week, who had maybe stepped foot in a bar once in their life, it seemed like, would fucking be out on Friday and Saturday. It was just like, I don't want to fucking deal with you, tourist. Like, I don't.
We were we were a big Sunday Funday bar, and anytime Monday was a holiday, it was total fucking amateur night, because it was college students and then people that worked jobs where they're off on a Monday. So a lot of government workers, teachers, whatever, anybody who had like whatever it's called now, Columbus Day off, or whatever the fuck day it was. So our Sundays, which were already fucking super packed, would be twice as packed, like line out the fucking door, and just people that just don't know how to party and drink like the rest of the people there. So they're trying to keep up with them. And it was always, you knew who was like a non-Sunday fun day person, because you could tell in the tip. It'd be like, 20, and it was half off. That was the thing. This place did half off, all food and all drinks open to close.
Jesus.
The whole entire tab for everybody, not just industry or anything. All of a sudden you're getting these fucking tabs for, $25. It's supposed to be 50 and they're tipping like $3. And you're like, that person is not a true Sunday funny, because they don't understand that it's really $50 and they're actually still tipping like 10% on a half off.
Right.
So, and then you get, but it balanced out, and you get the true Sunday funny and or industry people that tip 50% on already. So it all worked out. That's when you learn to drink Sunday Funday, especially like LA, which is like such a day drinking town.
Someone's got real jobs.
Yeah, for real. It's like everyone's got 15 side hustles or gigs going on, and it's like they don't have a steady. It's like there's all these. The happy hours is a huge thing out there. I didn't realize it's like that's what drives the town. Oh, yeah. And the happy hour is always during the day. It's never like just at night. You get these restaurants with 2-for-1s or half off margaritas, and I'm like, it's 2 PM, and I look over and there's just like tables of just people just chugging these margaritas, and I'm like, it's Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'm like, it's 2:00 and you're tanked. And then they come out of the bathroom and they're no longer tanked. And I'm like, that's right. LA's a cocaine town as well.
It is.
Now I get it.
It is indeed.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Austin is, man. I hear a lot of people referencing cocaine in this town. And I'm like, oh, I think it's everywhere maybe. I don't know. But I was like, Jesus
I've been led to believe that cocaine is a little popular. Just a touch.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Chicago was weird. Like, it wasn't. It's like if you did it, it wasn't in the open, but if you didn't do it, it was like you didn't do it. That was it. There was like very little like, middle ground for it. It was, if you did it, everyone knew. And if you didn't, everyone knew. LA was just kind of like, just different. It was so different.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It's just, cocaine flies a lot more freely in LA, I feel like. I definitely remember, speaking of Chicago and cocaine, just remind me of a story. It was a Cobra for fucking Dusty Grooves. Like, I don't know if you ever made it to that night. Thursday nights in Chicago Cobra, they used to have Dusty Grooves night, which was all rockabilly, doo-wop, and soul all night. It was a great party, because like girls used to fucking dress for it, like fucking dress to the nines, and it was such a fun night. But some girl I forgot who I was talking to. It was like some girl's just like, hey, come in the bathroom with me, and I'm like, oh, it's on. And then it was like, oh no, she wanted to do coke, and I'm like, oh, I don't do coke. She's like, why'd you come in the bathroom with me? I'm like, oh, my bad, I misread this situation. I
thought you wanted to get fingered. It's like,
fingered, full on penetration, dog. Oh no.
The cocaine world in LA. I try to tell people it's cocaine. The openness of cocaine in LA is like how the openness was in LA like 10 years ago for weed. It's like, it's just there. Like everyone knows there's signs in bathrooms that say, please do not do cocaine in our bathroom. Like it's it's so prevalent. And I had this theory one night. I was like, cocaine is like such a good, it's like a mirror drug or image of Los Angeles because it's a fake high, and you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and then you think it's going to happen, and it doesn't until you stop, and then that's when things are going to happen for you. I was like, because it's such a weird. I did it for only 3 years, but it's such a weird fucking like, just fucks you up mentally.
Did you stop doing coke before you stopped drinking?
No, that's all at once. I did. I only did coke for 3 years. When I got stabbed and decided to go sober, I quit everything. Weed too. Like, I don't smoke weed or anything. I do fuck with CBD because it helps, especially my fucking my neck and my back and stuff. And it helps my things. I get random anxiety flare-ups, not nearly as much as I used to. My anxiety was work related. I'd be at Sycamore and I'd be doing 16 different things, and I'm just like, I literally couldn't handle it, but I still was. In my head, I'm like, I can't handle this as I'm handling it, and I'm like, this is just too much for me. And I go in the back and I put my phone away and I'd sit in the office for 20 minutes, take my CBD, and just like relax. I'm like, this is just way too much for one person. And a lot of people didn't see it, and a few people did. And people that saw it were like, holy shit.
I definitely saw it.
Oh, yeah, I know you saw it. I think you had actually, the times you had, done projects here, you're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just like, so, yeah, but then all that shit happened last year, and it was just like, just somehow got through all of it and just kept going.
We had some good shows at the dojo last year. A couple of ones I worked on.
Yeah. That Garland event was so awesome, man. That was That was such a big event. And then he did the show, and it was like, fuck, this could like, because I was in touch with Netflix, and I was like, fuck, this could be something cool. And then because they bought that theater on Hollywood Boulevard, the Egyptian Theater, I think.
They bought the Egyptian?
I think so. Double check. I don't want to misquote or spread fake news. But I think they bought the Egyptian Theater, Netflix, for screening their stuff, their projects.
Oh, I'm going to Google this right now because I had not heard that.
It was the Egyptian. Maybe they were going to. I don't know, but I remember it was when that hit. My friend Erin and I, we were going back and forth. Like,
you are correct.
This could be... Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it's gone through yet. I got to look at the date on this article, but latest, Netflix has finalized a deal to buy Hollywood's historic Egyptian theater for an undisclosed price, closing a transaction that had been in the works for more than a year. The acquisition represents a major milestone in Netflix efforts to become part of the Hollywood filmmaking community. It's in Variety, so.
Yeah. And when I saw that's when I kind of was like, hey, Netflix, so I got this club over here. If you want to buy it, I can get in touch with the owners as long as I get a finder's fee.
Or hell, just a contract to operate.
Yeah, I'd rather be brought on as an employee than get like $5,000. It's like taxed. It's like, okay, now it's $3,000. I'd rather stay on as a work. It's like when people sell off their business and stay on as a consultant,
right?
Like,
that would
have been brilliant.
That would have been glorious. That would have been fucking glorious if Netflix had bought the dojo.
Hey, maybe they did, and they just didn't tell me. Maybe they bought the property.
They're like, fuck you, Trevor.
Oh, you moved away, or you're gone, or you're out of town or vacation. Oh, sorry, we couldn't get a hold of you. Now it's ours, bitch. We didn't have to give you shit.
No, I have a feeling Netflix would probably buy more of like a small theater space than they would at like a comedy club.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that. That property is for sale as a demo and as I forgot there's like a term for it in real estate, but they want to like a project or development. They want to. It's basically they're trying to get like a builder in there to build like a apartment complex. Like, what are they doing now? Like commercial residential.
Yeah, mixed use.
So, Mixed use. That's it. Mixed use. So
Yeah,
I think that's what they were initially.
I mean, that's kind of a shit mixed use location, just because you have a strip mall on one side of it, and then you have studio space that is not open to the public on the other side of it.
Across the street, the Days Inn, that property got sold last year. I didn't say anything because the Days Inn people tried to do a holiday party at the Dojo last year, and I was like, I like cut them the best deal I could do with almost us making shit. And they're like, "Oh, sorry, we found something else." And I'm like, "Your Days Inn." I'm like, "Well, this is our budget." I'm like, "Your budget is like a fucking like I've seen bigger budgets for a kid's birthday party. Like, come on, dude."
Like, what are you gonna do it in the In-N-Out parking lot next door?
Yeah, really. They I don't know if it went through, but the manager over there came in and he said that it was a holiday party, kind of going away party for the business, because supposedly Days Inn was, the property was bought out. So I don't know what's happened since with the COVID. So,
well, that's the crazy part. Like, there's so much mixed development use happening in LA and Hollywood right now, and it's sitting at 30-40% occupancy before COVID. Because who the fuck can afford a $4,000 a month one bedroom?
Yeah, no shit, man. I mean, you saw Sycamore's parking lot. That was enormous.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a big piece of property for, for mortgage for the owners. And so they would rent out the parking lot to, to studios or productions happening all around town, or not around town, but, in the area. And that's how they would, kind of make ends meet or make the extra money they needed to do whatever they needed to do. And when we had across the street, there's those studios directly across the street on Sunset. What's his name? Tarantino, when he was filming his project in Hollywood a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, they rented out the parking lot for months, and he was over there. And I was like, "Fuck, man." And I would go over there every once in a while and deliver pizza. Like, "Hey, I got some pizzas for you guys. Is Quentin here? Here's some tickets. You want to come to a show?" Like this.
Aw, that would have been awesome.
I know, man. It's cool. We had some pretty fucking cool people come in the dojo that were just random, like not invited, or friends of somebody, but I think it was the creator of Friends was there, one of the executive producers, and a couple of random people. That was just out of nowhere, what the fuck? Who does? And then I'm like, oh, it's Hollywood. Everybody knows everybody.
Exactly. I mean, that's the beautiful part about this town. Like, when people back home are like, "Dude, why are you still out there?" I'm like, the opportunity here is second to none. Because you never know.
It really is.
How many steps away you are removed from someone who may alter your life.
This is true. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah.
That shit does not happen for most people in Chicago.
Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't happen to a lot of people in LA either. There's not a lot of comedians that move to LA and then all of a sudden kind of have their own room pseudo club.
Right, but
because
you have more hustle than most of them.
That's the Chicago in me.
Right, but most those opportunities wouldn't be there for you to take advantage of almost anywhere but here.
Yeah, it's true. You're absolutely right. I've been and a lot of people that don't know the history or my history or whatever before the dojo is in LA is I ran a huge bar outside Chicago for years, and I ran events for that bar, big scale events, bands, live entertainment, everything. I was the go-to guy. I was the events coordinator, if you want to say. Plus, I managed the bar as well, kind of like the Dojo and Sycamore. And then I did all this other shit, of course, all the standard things, jump in as an employee to I bartend a lot and run food, whatever I needed to do. But I just did that. And I worked for my sister's company for years. And I dealt with professional fighters in the UFC. We helped bring women's mixed martial arts to where it is now. By just being a presence, and supporting women's MMA before it was actual professional UFC. So I was working big scale event in Chicago, LA, but I had a huge event in Vegas that ran great. And I've been doing it for a long time. So it's the people that know me from Chicago, Chicagoland from back in the day, they've seen the progression. And then there's people out here that I just meet and they just obviously know the dojo. Because the cool thing is the dojo is known out here. Dojo comedy, people know of it. It's like they've heard of it, they know of it, they've heard about it on podcasts, and it's kind of got like a cool and like it's crossed over here because it was like the it's the workout venue for LA. So
speaking of which, how did the Dojo Austin come about? I know already, but the audience should hear about this.
Well, I was in a random bar about 4 weeks or whatever, the Green Jay, and I met a friend that I was referred to by a friend. I went to meet up with Bobby at this metal bar. I walked in before I even I'm not even through the door. I see this stage with a drum kit and lights, and it's just this narrow stage. It kind of gave me a feel of Chicago, like an old Chicago bar. And I was like, and I just stopped. I'm like, this is so cool. I want to do comedy here right away. And I've been in a few bars and clubs before that. And I walked in, I sat down with him, and I'm just sitting around looking, and I'm like, this place is fucking cool. There's something about this. There was a vibe that just started to set in, like a really calm but good vibe. I'm like, I like this. And then we hung out all night there. It was super cool. Then we went back a few weeks later. We met up, or no, we went there and we went to say hi to the bartender because it's always dead on Sunday nights. So we went to say hi to the bartender that Bobby knows, and it was the owner that was there. And I was like, this guy doesn't seem like a bartender. I was like, I've been in this industry long enough. I'm like, this guy seems like the owner. There's just something about him. He just gives off that presence. Yeah. And we just started shooting the shit. One thing led to another. And he was like, and I had already emailed him a couple times. And he pulled up the email and he was like, oh, you emailed me right before the Chappelle show or the Chappelle comedy show at Stubbs. He's like, so obviously, I go, dude, trust me, I get it. He's like, it fell through the cracks. And he emailed me back right away, sent me his number. We started talking business. I sent him kind of like a really basic proposal pitch. He loved it. We talked again. Just set up all the stuff. I just do what I do. And I went in there last night to see the bartender. I stopped in to say hi to him and hang out. I was getting tamales. I was like, I'm going to bring him tamales. He's probably bored and lonely. So I'll hang out with him, buy some pop, tip him, try to put a little fucking money in the register. And the owner was there. The dude had to step out for a while. Owner was there. We shot the shit, booked the date, and got my lineup set this morning. Got the ghetto ass flyers done today.
Nice.
And the thing is, I told him last night, I go, everything I have is ready to go. I just need the green light. And he was just like, how much turnaround do you need? I go, whatever. He goes, how's next Thursday? I'm like, done. He goes, are you sure? I go, yeah. I go, I have everything I need to do. This is all I'm doing right now. I'm not working a steady job. This is it. And he goes, okay, 17th. I was like, cool. And today had the Eventbrite, had the lineup set, talked to a couple comics, booked my comics, and then just got it floating on social media.
Hell yeah. Can you tell us who's on the bill?
Yes. It's all online, so you can see it. But as of now, it's Isabel Herman, who she moved out here in the summer.
Yeah,
she's
I know.
The one that really she's the one that really put the seed in my ear to move here. Isabel Herman, Chuck Ludwig, who was a comic I met at the Dojo Sycamore. He used to do TK Madison shows before I took over and branded at the Dojo. What is her name? These are some new people, so give me one sec. There's a comic I met out here named Mary Helen. God, hold on, let me pull up her name. I don't want to mispronounce it. She's fucking funny as hell, and she's raw. Where's her name? Mary Helen McCarty. So it's Isabel Herman, Chuck Ludwig, Mary Helen McCarty, myself. As of now, I've got Bobby actually hosting the show and emceeing it because I told him he told me he did stuff in New Orleans. So he's got the stage presence and he's got a personality for it. And then I've got some comics I met here. Helen's one of them, Mary Helen. And then I've got Connor King, Sunny Carlin, and I don't know how to pronounce this guy's last name. Oh, James Garraby. So those are some local comics.
Nice.
And then I'm going to add some more, I think, a couple more local comics that I've met that need the stage time, newer comics, because that's what the dojo is. It's not just like the spotlight for the biggest comics in the world. It's a spotlight for the dim spotlight for people to work out. That's what I want to do. Is it's a pro show that you can just get better at. So I want to keep the philosophy, and the venue is beautiful. It's all remodeled, new sound. Apparently this place was known for having terrible sound back in the day. It was like a hard metal bar. They revamped the sound, everything, the lights. I've got a sound tech coming in and everything that the owner's going to have there. So it's cool. And it's 20 feet from Stubbs.
Nice.
And it's related to Stubbs. So it's a big step in the right direction. I'll just say that without, I don't know if what I'm allowed to say and not say about the venue, but it's in the family of Stubbs. So that's a fucking huge thing, which I didn't know until I sat there the second time and mixed it up with the owner. And I was like, oh,
so
I've been emailing you.
So is any of Chappelle's crowd gonna hopefully trickle your way?
I would love to have somebody, he's got amazing, openers. He's got Donnell Rawlings and what's her name, Michelle Wolf opening for him. And of course, him and Rogan are doing at least 5 nights together. So
Jesus,
it'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be cool to have him come in and work out because the owner is just a really cool guy, very fucking nice. And he's like, you have the room the whole night if you want to go. Because I'm almost like 90-minute show. He goes, I can stay up until 2 a.m. I was like, oh. I was like, well, a 6-hour comedy show really isn't, when you got a bunch of, like pro, non-pro comics there. I was like,
yeah, it's
people
not like
can riff, but after a while.
It's not like you have Eddie Griffith doing fucking 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I get someone at that caliber that can do that kind of work on stage and keep the audience, fucking yes. Like, come in at the end of the night and fucking crush, do whatever, riff, bring your people, like do something. But as long as I get the comics I booked, their stage time, that's the most important thing for me. I mean, after that is like,
you can start booking it like the OR and just fucking 16, 15-minute sets.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got it broken down pretty well where I call them the booked comics. The core people have like plenty of room to stretch their legs and have a good time. And then the comics that met out here, the newer or whatever comics, I'm giving them 5 to 7 because, I don't want to give them, I'm telling them, give me a solid 5, but I think I'm going to open it up to 7 because I can. And because I want them to stretch their legs. I don't want to just go up there and get 5 and leave. It's not the Comedy Store main room on a Tuesday where you have the best comedians in the world there for $10. This is
and it's also about building community too. You don't want people to just do their time and bounce.
Right. I want to essentially do the same thing I did in LA, but here, and just build a community and a family of comics, and just I think I did a decent job in LA, and I want to do it here. So,
well, I think you will. And it's unlike LA, you won't have people bouncing to do like their next mic across town because there aren't that many mics to go do.
Yeah, and since it's downtown, it's like if there was another show or something to do, they could do both. But I'm trying to keep this right now just book shows. I'm going to work on the mics later. I have ideas for stuff for other types of shows, but right now I just want to do book shows because there's a lot of mics in town, and the mics are solid. Like it's a cool community, and you see a lot of the same people. So it's a tight community. It's small, and I just kind of want to implement what I've done here. And I try to tell people, as as much or more than most people, I run a very kind of like open, like an openness. Like I want people to come hang out and enjoy it. Like I was able to do that at Sycamore because I was the manager and there's plenty of space to do it too.
Yeah.
Like they could come hang out and not even go to the show, or maybe pop in and check it out and then come back down. So,
there are plenty of nights where I popped in, like maybe went upstairs for like one person I know's set and then went right back downstairs.
Yeah. And it was, that was, I knew the day I got it, like I knew this was like a gift from God. And I was like, this is just amazing. And I remember I sat there, I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I know I can do this. I'm like, I need some help. Like, this is a big fucking deal. And I didn't hesitate, but I was like, at first I'm like, I can do this alone. Cause I'd been running shows there on my own already. Like once or twice a month, I was doing my own shows. And I was like, I got to find a way to make this work for me. And then I bounced around with ideas, and then I called or texted Sam, and he went crazy. So, it worked out. Crazy in a good way.
I am excited for Dojo Austin. Post COVID, I will definitely come down there, tear some shit up down there.
Fuck yeah, man.
It's been a while since I've been to Austin. Like, fucking, it's got to be like 5 or 6 years since I've been down to Austin.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. At bare minimum owe Bobby a fucking visit. He's been to LA a couple times recently, so.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. We're talking war stories about when he was out there, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, I've heard of all these places, but I never got to go to them because it was just like, I was like, I got worn out in bars. I'm like, I just can't go to a bar right now after work.
Yeah, no,
and then my off days, I'm like, I don't want to be in a bar.
Well, especially as a sober guy, I totally get that. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go hang out in. Yeah, it sounds fucking miserable. It has been a pleasure. Like, we're gonna last call on this motherfucker because I got places to be, you got places to be. So, tell everyone where they can get those Dojo tickets if they're down in Austin.
If you're in or around the Austin area, you can find me on all social media at Trevor Keveloh, as well as at the Dojo of Comedy. And now I just launched it recently at the Dojo of Comedy ATX, which is right there. So look us up on Twitter and Instagram at the Dojo of Comedy ATX. The Eventbrite link is in those profiles, as well as my personal Trevor Keveloh on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All Eventbrite links are in there for tickets if you want to come to a show. $10, $15 at the door. And it's a good lineup, and the show's solid, and it's gonna get better. I have a good feeling that the show could be really fucking cool. So
I'm sure of it. Yeah. Be sure to tell Isabel hey for me. I haven't talked to her in a hot minute.
I will, absolutely.
Hell yeah. But in the meantime, as always, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. Slayer on Facebook. You can find the podcast at And Now We Drink on Twitter, and Now We Drink _ on Instagram. And until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.